a update on the vinegar. So I don't think this vinegar is going to get any more vinegary. It's vinegary, but it's not vinegary when I compare it to a. This is some distilled vinegar, so they both taste vinegary, but I don't think it tastes as vinegary. It's not got that pungent kind of strength to it that like a vinegar has. Yeah, it's not like when you taste vinegar and you kind of go, "Ruah!" It hasn't got that type of vinegar flavour to it, although that is distilled malt vinegar. So I bought this because we're going to have another go at making some vinegars out of some different things. So I just wanted to make sure I definitely bought some raw organic cider vinegar, unfiltered, unpasteurised, contains the mother. Right, so we'll give this a try compared to the vinegars that I've made and see what kind of flavour this is. Alright, okay. That's not that dissimilar from these two. And that's kind of quite interesting. I was comparing it to a distilled malt vinegar. It's still not as vinegary as that one though. So, and I've done a bit of research, and I'm also slightly worried that what happens is that the vinegar eventually turns back into water, and I don't kind of want to waste it. I've got some more vinegar on the go, right? So that's fine. So I'm going to do a couple of things with this vinegar. I think it's vinegary enough to pickle some eggs. So I've poached a couple of eggs, boiled a couple of eggs. They're soft boiled. They're like cooked them for 5 minutes. So I'm going to see if it poaches a couple of eggs, and we're going to reduce, and also we're going to reduce it. We're going to put some heat underneath it, reduce the concentration of the vinegar in it. We will, through the heating process, we're going to lose a bit of flavour, but we'll intensify the vinegar because we're going to evaporate off the water. So, kind of quite an interesting experiment. And also, because this has been going for quite a while, I want to see how far it will actually go. So I'm actually going to save some of the vinegar and put it in some jars, so I can carry on brewing it. Is brewing the right word with vinegar? Carry on brewing it to see how far it goes, to see if there is a markable change, see if it does become a little bit more vinegary, or it's become less vinegary and turn more into water. So these are my thoughts. This is what I'm going to do, and then there should be some sediment in the bottom of these as well, which we'll keep and I will use as a mother. I'm slightly disappointed because I wanted like the leathery gelatinous thing to form on top of the vinegar, and it hasn't, which is a little bit disappointing, but can't have everything in life, can we? So I'm going to use the white wine to pickle the eggs. So we'll boil this off. There's some sediment in the bottom, which I'm going to keep in the jar, and we'll do something else with. Keep the majority of the sediment. Right, pull that to one side. So I want this topping up with the white wine vinegar. I don't want to waste that mother in that jar, so we'll use, take it down to 600. So there's 600 millilitres left. And then we know how much we're going to reduce it by. That's 700. This is mostly me just faffing around. Right, so there's 600 millilitres of the white wine vinegar in there. So that's that. And then that's the control, which will carry on brewing that one. And those are the eggs, which I think there'll be enough. It'll be acidic enough preferred it to pickle those eggs, because when I make pickled eggs, I don't like it too pickly. I have made a video, it's somewhere, probably under preserving, but there's a video on me making pickled eggs, which are delicious, but I don't use like strong vinegar. I water it down a little bit. So what we got here, keep pouring this off and off and off and off and off and off and off. Right. That's all shaken up a bit, so we'll save the mother out of that. Hopefully there's mother in that, so we won't. Same amount of there, so we'll carry on, see if that turns any further into vinegar, and then with that we've got 1.6 litres. So we'll bring these up to the boil, we'll evaporate bring it up to the boil. I'm not going to boil it vigorously, because there's always a danger when you're heating things that as they evaporate off, you get a sediment around the outside of the pan, which kind of affect flavours, which I don't want. I don't want it to kind of affect the flavour of the vinegar. I just want to make it a little bit more acidic. So bring it up to a boil, and then we'll slowly simmer to what we call it, to evaporate off some of the liquid, and then we'll get a more intense. Oh, sorry, I'm burping. We'll get a more intense vinegar. I did do a bit of research, and the strength of the alcohol, you don't want the strength of the alcohol that you start off with to be too high in the first place. So I'm not entirely sure how strong these wines were when I first started, but you don't really want to have anything above 10% volume of alcohol, otherwise it doesn't become as vinegary as it should do when you add the mother. That's something I did do a bit of research on. Not like me to do a bit of research, normally I just go straight into it. But anyway, so bring these up to the boil, slowly simmer, reduce them. I'll keep tasting until I get to kind of like a kind of acidity that I think I'm happy with, and then we'll measure it. Then we'll measure again what kind of volume we're left with, so we can work out how much of liquid I've evaporated off, and then we'll put it in some bottles, and we'll see if it kind of improves flavour over time. So put it in some sealed bottles, because you need to put it into some sealed bottles once it's got to a vinegary stage. Forget I'm doing this, but once the vinegar has got, like once this vinegar has got to enough vinegary kind of state, acidity level that you can want, what you do is you then put it in a sealed container, and then you let it mature. It stays at that acidity level, but the flavours kind of develop, which I assume that if you leave any vinegar uncovered, maybe not malt vinegar, but if you leave like cider vinegars and red wine vinegars and white wine vinegars, if you leave them uncovered, they will eventually over time turn to back to water, I think. But anyway, I'm waffling. We'll reduce, we'll come back, we'll measure, we'll pour into other containers. Right, we're reduced. So there was, if I'm not mistaken, 600 millilitres in there, and there's now 300 millilitres. So we'll put it into this bottle. I'll taste it. I'll have to taste it when it's cool, and then get some kind of idea if I've taken it too far. So kind of, I was thinking like, reduce it to a third of what it was. Well, 2/3 of what it was, so reduce a third off. But I think I probably might have taken it a little bit too far, because things taste different hot as they do cold. So that's ready. Well, tastes like it's ready. Let's probably, for example, what we got there. That's down to 1.2 litres. 1.2 litres. So we've got. What I can't remember. Let's see what's in this container. So we'll put some in here. That's right. So gas isn't on. So we'll let this cool, and then we'll give it a taste, and then we'll just have a quick rundown of what we've done and what you kind of need to reduce things by. I don't really like heating things up to evaporate the liquid out of them. You tend to lose flavour as well. So if you think of what an apple tastes like when it's raw, and what you think of an apple tastes like once you've cooked it into apple sauce or into an apple pie, it tastes different. It tastes stewed. And it's the same thing when you're reducing wine and things like that. Anything else, you kind of develop a cooked flavour into things. Sometimes you want to cook the flavour out of things, but sometimes you cook the flavour into them. So that there, we don't want to reduce it anymore. I've got a lid for that somewhere, so we'll let those cool, and then we'll have a come back and we'll see what they taste and see if I have reduced them enough or see if I've reduced them too much. There's always a danger, but we live and learn, and it's an interesting experiment, and it's the first time, it's the first run through of this, so it's obviously going to be a few mistakes and to get things kind of right, but you need to do it once to learn, and then next time you know exactly what you're doing. Right, they've cooled. Let's have a taste. So I will taste the bought vinegar first, and then I kind of get an idea of how vinegary this is. Ugh. That's vinegary, all right. And this is the white wine vinegar. So I reduced. It was originally, I've written it down. I'm prepared. There was 600 milliliters, and I reduced it down to 300 milliliters. That means it's half. It's been halved. So it should be doubly concentrated than it was. I don't want to taste that much. That's still not as vinegary as that, but it's vinegary enough. It's vinegary enough. And then this was 1.6 litres down to 1.2 litres, so I haven't reduced it that much. Might need a further reduction, or I might just leave it as is. But I think I would have, by boiling it, I will have killed the mother, any mother in it. So we'll just have to see. Yeah, now needs reducing more. So that one needs reducing more. So there will be another part to this video. We need to take it down by half. So it was 1.2. I need to reduce it further. But I'll do that, and then there'll be we'll let it mature in the cupboard, and there'll be an update with how that tastes after a month, what these two mothers that were, well, the sediment at the bottom of the jars, those two were alike after a month, if we've kind of got any like gelatinous mother formed, and then these two, which were I didn't do anything with, I just took some of the vinegar out of the containers and put them into fresh containers, and then we'll kind of see if they become more vinegary over the next month. So it's like a work in progress type of thing. I've got some more vinegar on the go, so these are like the control kind of methods, but we'll just kind of see. It's kind of interesting. I'm kind of interested and curious, so we'll just kind of see how it goes.